Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo, and I am here once more on Thursday for Ashita no Joe. We're on episode 5, and I woke up this morning not sure if I was going to record today. I felt a little off, a little cold, a little melancholic, a little tired. But then I looked at the last 4 weeks of consistent on-the-day uploads of Joe, and I decided that I wasn't going to miss it. So, here we are for Ashita no Joe, episode 5. And Joe is headed to the slammer for being a scammer. Joe did a bunch of things that were wrong and illegal. He beat up a whole police force. He was really bad to Danpei. He lied about his own provenance and that of a bunch of urchin children, and used that lie to manipulate a wealthy person in order to get her money. But I have this strange sense that Joe's real crime in the eyes of the camera, in the eyes of the show, isn't his brutalizing of a bunch of trained cops, or really even his betrayal of the trust of one pretty powerful, wealthy young woman. Instead, it's like he's getting his just desserts for the core human conflict and betrayal of Tengen Danpei. Maybe I'm wrong in reading it that way, but that's how it feels. It feels like Joe's incoming punishment is really a punishment of two things. And I'm basing these in like pure intuition off the vibe of the text, and perhaps not at all of the text, but I hope that they're interesting intuitions, and that you'll bear with me as I try to share them. I think Joe is eventually punished because he betrays someone who would otherwise protect him, and I think Joe is at core punished because he doesn't fit. And he's punished for not fitting. For not fitting in with the world. And it's something about last episode's reveal of Joe's great plan, of this little seed that he's holding close to his chest and nurturing, this seed of hope, this little sapling of an idea that he's trying to protect from the elements, from the despair around him, and using any means he can get his hands on because he doesn't have any other means available to him. Using his wits and his cunning to steal and to scheme and to scam because he doesn't have any other means available to him. Because he doesn't fit. Because he doesn't have a place. Because he doesn't have a place to plug into a society. He doesn't have a place to plug into a society and get the things that he wants out of society. So he does the things that are obvious to him to do, which are illegal. And that's what gets him punished. He is punished because he doesn't fit. He acts out because he doesn't fit, and he's punished for the result. But the result is deterministic of the situation. I've thought about this a lot when I'm thinking about disadvantaged youths in urban populations. Because I've met a bunch of these kids. Race, cultural background notwithstanding. Urban population, disadvantaged youth, doesn't have a way to fit into the society. Is disillusioned by all the roads available, and those roads are not open to them in obvious ways. The doors all feel shut in your world. Everything feels like it slams in your face. You're not good enough. You're getting kicked out of the bottom of the barrel fast food jobs because, honestly, you're so disadvantaged and so fucked in your education and your parenthood and your raising that you're violent and you're not able to get along with other people and you're not able to work in a team. And so where are you headed? What are you going to do to survive? How are you going to eat? What are you going to do in a city? You're going to do crime, the things that are outside the norm, because all the things that are inside the norm don't work for you. Those doors get shut in your face. And maybe you get lucky and you find somebody amazing right? Who steps way outside of themselves and gives you a shot, gives you a chance, gives you an opportunity, right? Maybe you meet that kindly librarian who the heroes of young adult stories meet and have their lives changed by, or whatever, right? But probably you fucking don't, and the person that you meet is just like you, but 4 years further down the line, and they're already involved in the gang violence and all the shit and whatever, and so you get yourself what? Caught for shoplifting, or something stupid, or something bigger, or a third strike if you're in a three-strike state and that's still a thing that exists, and suddenly you're in prison for 10 years. Why? Because you're a bad person. Really? Maybe it's because you don't fit. So, if those things are deterministic from the situation to a great extent, and at least to the extent that it takes some internal shift to change you so that you can not fall down that path, right? Like, it will take conscious effort for you to become something that can fit into what everybody else considers normal. Otherwise, if fate takes its course, you will be on the edges, as we find Joe, a drifter on the edges, in a world that is like purpose built to create people like him, to push people to the edges. A world very much like the one that we are either in or heading toward, depending on where you sit. Joe's nature as a person, his way of existing, is created by the reality that he exists in. And I think he is molded by it in the way that a lead figurine is molded by its mold, right? That he is purpose built to fit a particular shape. And then he is punished because the shape that he is built into doesn't fit with all the other shapes. It doesn't have a place in this world. Not as we've seen it. And so Joe is prison bound. Because that's what we do with people who don't belong. That's what we do. And that's kind of what I've been trying to get at here in this intro, in this beginning. Because from the beginning of the show, I've been relating to Joe as an outsider, as someone separate from society. Obviously, everyone is a part of society. I think everyone goes through a period or a portion of their life, maybe their whole life, where they feel at odds with portions of society, and there's a give and take and a push and pull, and I think that's part of what universalizes stories like this. But I think one of the paths that people like Joe, and brought in people like me, and brought in probably people like you, one of the paths that we can find ourselves on is the path of do not fit. And if you're on that do not fit path, that is a slippery slope straight to the jail place, because where we put people that don't fit is the elsewhere. You're viewed as a wrench in the works, a broken thing in the finely oiled cogs of the machine, and so elsewhere is the place for you. I don't know what prison was like in the time period that we are presenting Joe, but I know what prisons are like. At least I know how they've been depicted and what the history books say about them. And I know, to some extent, that this period of time was one of deep unrest. And it is periods of deep unrest that those prisons fill up. I wouldn't be surprised if there are layers of corruption here. I wouldn't be surprised if the same powers that exist outside are crystallized and magnified on the inside. But I also wouldn't be surprised if, in a strange way that we don't really like to... I think broadly the general social consciousness is fairly anti-prison at present. We view them as punishment, not correctional, not very functional. In the United States, there's a huge seeing them as private profit industries that drive criminal law in weird directions, weird fucked up directions, and create bad incentives for a system that's supposed to be a part of, like public works. But Joe's a pretty simple guy. Joe wants to fight people and not get in trouble for it, and Joe wants a place to sleep, and Joe wants enough to eat. There is a place, a magical, magical place, where all of those things are taken care of, and it's called prison. You are in a cell, and maybe with a general population of people who are going to be very happy to fight. Maybe with guards who will encourage that fighting, you never know. You've got enough to eat, and you're somewhat taken care of. Hell, you're more taken care of than you are when you're out on the street, living alone. There's a bit of camaraderie. There are people around you, and they're all in the same boat that you are. Prison might just be paradise for a guy like Joe. And it was thinking about that led me to draw the gloves with as handcuffs, the gloves with chains between them. Because it makes me wonder, does Joe think that the whole boxing thing is really prison? And that prison will be freedom? Or will he... I don't know. I'm excited to find out. I'm excited to see how we depict this space physically. And I'm really desperately excited to see how we depict this space mentally for Joe. Where is he going? And I really mean, like, where does he think he's going? Is prison a scary hell place for him? Or is he going to enter into this hopeful? Like, glad to be going there, glad to be out of this stupid relationship with these kids and Don Pei trying to force him on stuff. Is boxing the prison for him? Is the idea of doing what somebody else wants him to really prison? And will we get to a point where those chains come off and he decides to put the gloves on himself? Something like that. I don't fucking know. I don't know at all. I'm excited to watch some Joe, though. I've pumped myself up into it. So, let's do it. I've got episode 5 of Ashita no Joe up and ready to go. It is titled For the Sake of Tomorrow, Part 1. However, the next episode is not titled For the Sake of Tomorrow, Part 2. So I don't think that this is a two-parter, which is very weird to me. We're going to watch episode 5, For the Sake of Tomorrow, Part 1. And I don't know what the heck it's going to be about. But I'm really excited to follow Joe into whatever the future holds. Over an incredibly short period of time, I've become incredibly emotionally invested in this handful of sketchily drawn characters whose depictions are so muddled compared to the types of depictions we get in modernity, and yet sing from the screen with such incredible clarity. What cool characters. Let's watch the next episode of Joe. Episode 5, 2 version, picture-in-picture in the description, timer on YouTube, beep beep time, blip, yip, 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 early access, beep beep timer. My video player started like pausing, so I've switched video players. It keeps doing that. I don't know, Joe. I don't know. Tomorrow's gonna be in a cell. Hmm. Really got to him, huh? Get ready. Curse him. Really got beat up. Quiet down in there. Probably for as long as you get tried. I wonder if he's been tried yet. I wonder if he will. That was really cool. But hopeless. Oh. Doesn't have anybody else, though. He wants to take care of his body. Your body isn't just yours, Joe. I think he's gonna eat it. Yeah, you tell him. Whoa, 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 Sachi! Do things the right way and persistence. Oh. Yeah. Uh, it's more, and then Joe shat all over it. Oh. Yeah, but we should eat them in joy. It's still great that the kids get to eat. Yes, you should eat them. Aww. What? Oh, poor Sachi. Oh, he is a beast. Yeah, we gotta keep up your strength too, man. Hey, he's got rice. Ah, are you sure? Oh, oh. Are you sure about that? Oh. Yeah, it's about to get way worse, kid. Keep assaulting officers, you're gonna get there, though. Oh my god, we're back at the sandbag. Oh, it's just gonna make me cry. Ah. Dreams. Oh my god! Oh, it's so perfect. Kids are assholes. We'll become boxers. Let's break Joe out of prison. Oh, there you go. Okay. It's got a better shot than anything else we've tried. She still has compassion for them, even if there was a lie involved. Hmm. Put him in the hands of a responsible adult, like Dante? I don't know if CPS is gonna agree. Hmm. Of course. Tabune. Wow, she's actually going to. That's wild. She's way too good. Just a little different. Still singing his same old song. Ho ho. Hello. We're doing the same. We're doing the thing again. Oh, this time we get a full smile. Gets to stand there with his shirt open, all cool and hot. And be snarky. Show some respect. Oh. Hard to get through to him. He's all prickly defense mechanisms. Yeah, I was about to say he's gonna blow up that Guardian ship real quick. So you do not want him to be your Guardian, then? Oh, they saved a piece of cake from, because it's the nicest thing they could possibly think of, right? Ah, shit, of course it was Sachi, too. Oh, it's so cute. Ah. She's dreamed it up. God, you're a smart little kid. One single intrusive thought. Hmm. Oto Baba! Oh! Oh my god! Since it was held by such an old bat as you, basically? What the fuck, man? He wants to hurt the people around him, like, how dare you reach out to me? You'll learn. Fuck. Oh, no, it can't! Oh my god, my guy, no! Oh. Just every day. He hasn't been drinking. We'll write to Joe. He just discovered mail. Yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna send you so many love letters, Joe. Rainy days in the police hospital. Better than where you're going, probably. Oh boy. I hope it just is a list of exercises. Ah! Fuck. Ah! Oh. Ah! It hurts. Ah, it hurts. Oh my god. Oh, the slow burn realizations, they hurt. They fucking hurt, man. Even everything is washed clean. A new future has dawned. Fuck. Wouldn't want the mailman to get lost, but he will. Fair. Yeah. That is the thing about prison. It's boring. Almost like makes you wish you had something good to do. The note? Maybe you shouldn't have fucking torn it up. What a thing, trying to put back together the pieces of something that you destroyed in anger and finding it enjoyable. Whoa. It is! It's exited its list! Jabu! Fucking, all I can think of is Ippo being so happy about his jab. That was gorgeous, too. Yeah, he is! What else are you gonna do? You were just saying that you're so fucking bored. Too bored to do this? Yeah. Yeah, I've always been good enough. Then why'd you lose? Then why'd you lose? For the sake of tomorrow. Ashita, Ashita, Ashita. Ah! 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 Tight, tight, tight. Oh my god. Hey, that felt nice. It was. Masaka. Yeah, it's not power, man. Shing. Whoa. Yeah. How interesting. Other people can have good information that helps me get better at stuff. Weird. Strange. Strange. Fuck. Ah. Oh my god, is he going into the ring? In his mind, He is! It's an envisioning. Yeah. Oh my god, the heavens open up above him. It's full biblical. This is a vision. I know that they're lights, but like... Oh, remarkable. You tired? Ah! I have been tricked. Yeah, dirty. It's perfect. The chains, it's perfect. Fucking handcuffs that are boxing gloves. It's perfect. Oh, that's beautiful. The way it's shifting, it's beautiful. The world's greatest? Yes! No, the greatest in the world! The rain ends? Sup, peace, peace. Bluster, bluster. Okay. Will he clown this? I think he will. Yes, he will. He will clown this, because, yeah. Yeah. Haha. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Oh, obviously violent. Not there. Gone. Yeah, and it's like, what can I do to actually get this right, sort of thing. Whoa. Worthless. How do you feel about that? Wait, 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 wait. Oh no, I wanted to know that answer. Fuck. It's obvious that he's a violent simpleton. No, no redeeming features here. Yeah. Sure. Hmm. Man, will it be hell or paradise? Oh, uh, yep, it'll be bad. It's gonna be bad is the answer. Oh, yep, it's gonna be bad. There are gonna be lots of people. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. No, that guy looks big. Come on, man. Can we move on? Explode left jab. Oh, I wonder if. Oh, well, maybe he'll be able to put it into practice. I have to listen to the ED, otherwise I just would end there and not deal with looking away from that. Tate. You're an inmate, Joe. You're an inmate now. Oh boy. I love it. I love it so much. I think it's so cool. I'm gonna open the other video edit or video player so that I can move around and skip and stuff. I got it. So I'm so glad. I feel like I got it right by asking the question: where is Joe going physically, and where is he going mentally? And I'm really glad that I asked about the mentally thing because that's really, to me, the core of the episode is like, where is Joe now? And where does he think he's going and what's he going from? It fits with the idea of like, where is tomorrow even? But where is today? Where are you? What is happening right now? On like are you on the path to punishment or the road to your future? Like where are you, Joe? How do you envision and conceptualize the situation that you're in? There's something about the scene where everyone, all these strong authority figures in uniforms are saying this is really important. this word association game that we're about to sit you down and do determines your future. And Joe, like, not caring and being like, hi, sure. And then honestly being direct and straightforward in the word association game, but the whole time needling at it, like, I know that this is some bullshit. You just want me to say the things that a normal person would say so that you can write me off as a normal person, or you want me to say something weird and fucked up so that you know that I'm weird and fucked up. Like, I know what this is. This isn't like a real understanding. You're not going to try to understand me. And it misses everything about Joe that we've learned over the last episodes. It's flawed, beyond flawed, to the point where taking it seriously as they demand that he does is silly. The only rational response to this situation is to do something totally irrational and absurd, because it's so absurd. I think that nails the experience of like 5% of the population everywhere. And you know those kids because you've had them in your classrooms, and they've been the kids who act out when things are serious, as almost as though they can't help it, almost as though it's a guarantee that they will act out when things get serious, almost as though that's the only thing they know how to do in that situation. Something about that scene was more real than real. Was like, oh fuck, we've depicted something true about people right there. We know how Joe's going to act in this situation. And everything around him is, like, constructed in such a way that he slides off of it, that he doesn't fit. Again, in this prison hospital, there isn't a spot or a slot or a Joe-shaped hole for Joe to fit in. It's not a system that's built for him. It's a system that's built to put him elsewhere. To say, you're not normal, you don't fit normal, there's no place for you, we can't release you safely into society, go elsewhere. But Joe's thoughts aren't even on prison. They're on Danpe. They're on his own failure, his own loss. I think Joe's lost a lot of things in his life, right? His irresponsible parents, the dream of a safe, healthy, happy future, the opportunity to be educated, the opportunity to learn about the world, the opportunity to have an opportunity at all, right? Friends his own age, all of those things. Joe has lost plenty in his life. But I don't think Joe has ever lost. Like in a battle, in a 1v1, in a fight. Joe's always able to, like, might makes right, or at least come out the other end with the smirk of the guy who won even in losing, you know? He's got that sort of a character to him where it's like, as long as you can't beat down my spirit, I'm still winning. Still winning. But he loses to Danpe. For sure. And that haunts him. That's how I see it. That's how I read it. We've got Danpe literally running through his thoughts, through his mind. This is the best thing for you. Get ready. And there are such shades of let me see you grit those teeth to this get ready that I just want to throw it out there and point it out. People have remarked that the Gurren Lagann staff had a lot of love for Joe, and I feel it here. I feel it here. This is what's best for you, kid. This is that tough love. Bam. But it haunts Joe. Damn that guy. He's angry at Danpe and then at himself for getting busted up by the geezer. And this is the place at which respect for another's knowledge can be born and the opportunities for learning can be found. Because Joe's internalized perfection, I'm so great, I'm so good, I can't be beat by anybody, at least in my own mind, comes up against this wall where he has actually been beaten and he can't really pretend otherwise. You got beat down, you got knocked the fuck out, and you woke up in a jail cell, and you know who did it to you. It was Danpe. An old man, too, a blind old man. How pathetic. But without that beatdown, Joe would never do what happens later, right? He would never be able to learn. he would never be open to it. There's a cone, which then became kind of a meme and has proliferated into the world to the extent where it's kind of dumb now. The cone was like, there's the Buddhist philosophical master who teaches at a temple, and a student comes to the temple and asks for teaching, and the master puts out tea cups for the student and starts pouring the tea, and then just keeps pouring the tea and keeps pouring the tea, and it overflows and overflows and overflows, and finally the student goes, "What the fuck, man? Like, stop it." And the master goes, "This is the point of the thing, obviously. Your cup is already full, and so how would I pour my knowledge into your cup when you already know everything? Your cup overflows already, and so you need to empty that cup out." And Joe's cup is real full, right? In that arrogant way that a youth knows everything and understands the world and knows what they should be doing and all this stuff. Like, Joe has the big plan to put an amusement park in the town and everything's gonna be great, right? Joe knows everything. Joe's got this. Joe's gonna solve Joe's gonna solve the wars. Joe's gonna solve the economy. Joe's got everything. Joe for president. For Joe, with that full cup, we can't convince him to dump it out, so we have to break the cup. Now we have to rebuild a cup, and then we can pour some knowledge into it. And that's what we start sort of doing. Joe is broken down and luckily hits this wall. That's kind of the vibe that we get here. Is if not for this wall, if not for this ping pong redirect, bing bong bang, you're going this way now, Joe would be on the fast track to dead at the hands of Yakuza, probably. Instead, he's shattered. And now, from shattered, he can be rebuilt. Just like the note. Ooh, just like the note, pieced together like a puzzle. And just like his life and his situation, he sort of like tore up this thing that is the key to opportunity, and he dismissed it and threw it away. And then in his boredom, in the struggle of the questioning of the what now, finds himself drawn to that thing that he dismissed at first and realizes that there's something of value in it, and then curses it for being valuable and interesting. Joe's in chaos, right? Joe is a poster child for cognitive dissonance. Joe is perfectly out of his fucking mind, which is why that works so well, why he's so at odds with himself, why the things that he's drawn to, he, like, rails against and hates. It's very human. It's very human. Okay, all that starting in the first couple seconds. We get a great depiction of Joe still being beat to shit and not being able to walk very well. And I really like this scene as he bashes against the door. We sort of turn everything around him. And we have this moment that he kicks off the door like that, bam, and then we sort of fall and tumble back, and it takes an angle that's a lot like the angles of the OP. And he's sort of... I guess he runs up first and then smashes it and then tumbles back. I think I want to point this moment out because I really like this oblique framing of everything. It's very artsy. It feels French, which is weird to say. It feels French. It's strange. It's interesting. It's definitely novel, and it makes me realize just how much of modern anime is shot with camera level with the horizon. With the exception of parts where we want to frame an emotion really hard and, like, we'll go Dutch on a face or something. Camera level with horizon, and it's what we do. I think, Dazaki's really well known for his use of Dutch angle, and I think we have a cool variant of that here, where it's throwing everything into, like, a multi-Dutch weirdness that makes everything feel very dynamic as Joe moves through this space and falls into us. Then we sort of spiral and build the zone where he is out of it. It's really cool. It's great camera work mixed with great character work that bridges the gaps that are inevitable in like in the struggle to make animated things look animated. It bridges those gaps with these tricky maneuvers that create a lot more dynamism um than they would individually. It's like the whole becomes more than the sum of its parts. Okay, so our setup is that we really want to communicate with Joe and see him and leave stuff for him and be a part of his life, but the prison doesn't want to let that happen, and also Joe doesn't want that to happen. And that's sort of our core of the story is Joe is out and he wants to reject everything that was before. It doesn't lead him to the tomorrow that he envisions until he reads the note. The kids are kids. I really like this scene with all the industry and us resting. And I get heartbroken like 12 times throughout this because there are some really heartbreaking fucking moments and also some silly shit. My final dream is locked up in the steel cage. Joe probably isn't eating it either, and he's just spite. Right? Joe's an ass. Let's not fuck around, especially to Shiraki Yoko, especially a little bit later. Joe's an ass. But I still think that his behaviors fit and stem directly from their, like, I wouldn't blame poison oak for growing in the ground, you know? The fact that it is poisonous means that I'm gonna go and I'm gonna remove it from the garden, but I'm not gonna blame it for growing into what it is. That would be stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Likewise, like Joe is growing into that doesn't really work. That doesn't work because it's not that Joe is like inherently a type of creature that grows into poison. It's that Joe's environment leads him to grow in a particular direction. It's more that I wouldn't be mad at a seed planted in soil and watered and given sunlight for growing. Joe grows because, duh, the thing that he grows into still feels to me to be deterministic based on his experiences. And it's like this total inability to work alongside authority. He cannot do it, will not do it, must rebel against it. There's something else to it. So this is weird, and I was wondering if this would come up, and I was thinking that it probably wouldn't, but I started reading a little bit ago, and by a little, I started reading last night a book called Improvisation in the Theater by one Keith Johnstone, where Keith Johnstone talks about in the 60s and 70s in England being involved in a bunch of theater departments and developing like an emergent set of theories of how creativity works in humans and how to get it to like re-emerge in an adult person who's like shut down their own creativity over the course of their education. And some of the ideas that he had were that we dull ourselves by following all these rules, by knowing all the right ways that things have been done. And as I was reading that, I was thinking about how much Joe doesn't know the right ways of doing things, and how the lack of knowing the right ways of doing things actually opens the world up to you a little bit, because you don't just follow down the paths that you would obviously go. I think of this in like tabletop RPGs. You're building characters. The characters that someone who has played Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition from 2014 for like 10 years and like watched a bunch of actual plays and they know the system really well and they know their system mastery is really on lock, they will make a bunch of characters that feel very much the same because they know the right ways of making characters. Like, they'll build a cleric that has high wisdom and high strength because that's how you build clerics. But if you do that with a person who's never played that system before, they'll build like a weak cleric who's not that wise. And you'll be like, well, but that doesn't really work for the system. That doesn't make you very powerful. And they'll be like, yeah, but this is who the guy is, right? He's like really charismatic and not that wise, and he's a cleric, he's a priest. It's how it works. And the fun, the creativity that emerges out of that is like really interesting, and lots of cool things happen that aren't optimal, that aren't the right way of doing things, the right way of going about things. from that lack of knowledge comes a bunch of burgeoning beautiful things, but also from it comes the genuine possibility that you will fail when you come up against difficulties because you aren't doing things in efficacious ways. It is ineffective for Joe to act this way toward these authority figures, but he doesn't know the right way to act toward authority figures. He doesn't have that. But there's something beautiful that we're gonna smash out of him, maybe, unless we do something really clever here. There's something beautiful about that lack of being bound by all these expectations and norms. And I think part of Joe's actions here, his retaliatory actions, are an attempt of the adolescent to protect their child self. Because I think as a child growing up, you feel yourself losing that. You feel other people trying to steal it from you, trying to take away your creativity and your agency and your freedom and your ability to see things as possible, right? Even in the darkness of the world, even in all this stuff, if he follows the rules, then he's not himself, and he's not tapping into that child thing, that wellspring of brilliance that is him and is that fire within him in him. And it's that fire that causes him to fight, right? That spills out of him into energy, into motion, into action, into doing. It's the creative impulse. It's that beast within him. And we don't have a way of keeping it alive and being an adult, and following the rules. It doesn't work. It's like you have to suppress that in order to be a normal, and he refuses. So it's like defensive. So he attacks an officer, trying to convince him to get him to where he's going, right? He just doesn't want to wait here anymore. There's piles on more reasons for them to keep him there, Fuck, these scenes of darkness, of the factory, of the waterways, and of just standing by the sandbag are beautiful. I found myself entranced by the color of this shot. The darkness that it blends into on the left side, and then this deep brown, almost orange of Donpei's head against these purple blues that are so royal and rich. It's just beautiful. I think it's really lovely looking. And then the oranges of the flashback sequences. Joe! My guy just standing there in the darkness, occasionally saying, just moaning out the word Joe. Fuck. The saddest. So we'll ask Shiraki Yoko. Maybe he could get away with just protective custody if he had a responsible guardian. Yeah, that would go great if he didn't reject that option out of hand. But of course, he will. The setup and then not setting up the cake and then paying it off, I think it's really cool. Hello, Yoko. And we do a mirror of the first time that we see her. I bet the timings are very similar. But of course, his expression shifts this time to a big grin. Because this is funny. This is silly. He gets to poke fun at her again. He's always like this, miss. Sorry for him. It reminds me so much of administrators at schools that I've been to when you get kids who are the class clown. Kids who are almost invariably pretty intelligent and just don't quite fit. Just don't quite want to play by the rules, right? Like, fuck, it's so perfect. And the sort of the beat down, like not understanding how to handle these people that we get from people in positions of power, from authority figures who expect things to go like by the rules and by the book. When in truth, I think, based on what I'm coming to understand from Johnstone, that if that world was opened up to them a little bit, if there was a little bit more signaling that we're not at odds, that we're like a little bit at play in a puppy body language level kind of way, that we could actually get through to people like this and that they could have great things to contribute to society, not to be shuffled off and written off as useless. Fucking interesting. It's such a rich depiction of existing as a person who's not quite normal. I'm here for Danpei. She's so interesting that she says this. I didn't come here because of a kind heart or by my will at all. Takes herself out of the equation. I came for Danpei and the children, but you chose to do that for them, which is very kind and by your will. Very cute. So tell him, stay the fuck out of my way. Don't act like my dad. She gives him the cake. It's from your cute fans. Those kids gave up their own cake for you. And he dumps it on the floor because Joe's a tool. Joe, what you do next will severely determine your outcomes. Fuck you. Joe would rather spit in the face of his judge, right? To spite the system, than act respectful for 5 minutes, pretend for 5 minutes, and get a lesser sentence, right? His idea is genuineness and authenticity, sort of, like to his own bullshit, although he's happy to lie if it behooves him. There's that cognitive dissonance, right? Authenticity to being punk rock is kind of his vibe. But he's not punk rock. He's pathetic. He's pathetic. Because a punk rocker would be fighting for the kids, you know? And his response, his verbal, like, he backs it up with, thanks, but since you were holding it, it's not going to taste good. There's something else that's throughout Johnstone's improvisation in the theater that immediately struck me as the most valuable insight, and was actually the reason that I went and started looking at the book, because somebody mentioned it in a Reddit thread deep in and sort of brought up this framework that a lot of humor and a lot of situations, a lot of dialogues, a lot of circumstances are founded around status and characters trying to raise or lower the status of the other person and raise or lower their own status. Generally, characters trying to raise their own status and lower the status of the other. Shiraki Yoko mostly isn't playing this game, although she takes this high status by saying that she's not, like, playing status games. There's something very powerful about saying, I'm actually too good to play status games. Something very powerful. And so Joe answers by taking this thing. If he eats the cake, he accepts that Shiraki Yoko is good and right, and that this cake that the kids think is a gift, right? This expensive thing is something that he would value. That makes them better than him, and he's taking their handouts. So he does the only thing he can do to maintain and elevate his status in the situation. He says, actually, I'm better than you because I don't want this. It's dirty because you touched it. Let me step on it. Get used to this, because I'm going to start talking about these sorts of status plays in conversations all the time. It's unlocked a whole world of understanding how conversations work, and it's used by Johnstone as, like, here are the fundaments of humor. Be a low status person playing high status. Be a low status person who shits on the status of high status people, right? I think one of the examples given is, like, example, tramp. Here, where are you going? Duchess. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch. Hey, are you deaf as well as blind? And we've reduced the status of the Duchess by having the tramp be like, oh, you stupid idiot. That's what we're doing here with Shiraki Yoko, and that's what Joe is doing. He's clawing back his status by throwing away this gift that he's been given. Fuck yes. Fucking interesting. Okay. See, that to me is like Keys to the Kingdom. It clicks, and a scene unlocks in its purpose to me. And it's like, oh, ooh, I bet that the people who wrote and drew this didn't really even know consciously that that's what they were doing. They were just like, what's Joe going to do in this situation? They came up with the conclusion that he was going to do this because it reads right for the character in the moment. And then we can unpack all these, like, theoretic reasons that works out and happens. I love it. I love getting to do this. It's so cool. Fuck your cake. And get this zoom in on him. It's like hunger in his eyes. It's interesting. It's like, I win. Huh. Nodding off, and he wakes up. He's like, Joe, he's back. Fuck, man. And postcards. Da-da-da. Toss the postcard. Oh, the city being pretty is so cool. The warp of everything is so cool looking. Joe's boredom leads him to look down at the paper. What a cool scene. He says the episode title and then pieces together this thing. How does this go? And suddenly Joe is not self-conscious. That's what stands out to me about this moment, is that, well, it's like watching an ADHD kid hit hyperfocus, or being an ADHD kid and hitting hyperfocus. Suddenly something's interesting, and it's on the backdrop of everything being fucking boring, which I think is just right, because it's off that backdrop of everything being boring that suddenly a goal emerges, or a path emerges, or something worth doing emerges. Almost always in my life, and I've seen it in others too. Seek boredom if you want to find motivation. Find yourself really bored and don't fill it, right? Because that's something that's always at our fingertips now. We have infinite media, infinite filler to fill your boredom, so you don't ever have to be bored. But if you want to think, if you want to create, if you want to become, seek out some boredom, and from there you'll find fertile soil. You'll find all sorts of strange things leaping forth. But then here he is, and he's piecing together this puzzle, and it's like, what's this? What is this? How does this go? I got mad and ripped it up, so it's hard to make out. I made a choice out of anger just a couple minutes ago, and now I regret it, and I have to do extra work in the present to piece it together. I think that's clever. It's not like we harp on it or hone in on it very hard, but I think it's very clever that that happens here. It's like a puzzle, and a puzzle is kind of cool, and it's fucking instructions, and they come to life in his mind's eye as these figures fighting. It's beautiful. I think these figures fighting are gorgeous. Oh man, how silly. Give me a break. I don't need a plan. All I need is what I had before. How stupid this is. But then he's like, alright, sure. And he tries it. And his fist makes an exciting noise. And for the first time, really, we do this. The color breaks out of his outlines. He cracks like an egg hitting a hot frying pan. Joe goes to light speed, right? He hits hyperdrive, and suddenly we've had him move and shift. We've had him swing big circles across the screen, but here it's like he breaks the confines of his own body and jumps out of the reality that we've all been inhabiting together to enter into a watercolor space of perfection. Snap. And there's something different. There's something strange about the sound, something different about the feel, and it captures Joe. He's caught up in it. You know, the way you get caught up in something, in an energy, in an idea, and suddenly he can't stop. He's punching, he's enjoying it, he's feeling this thrill of moving his body in the right way that's been unlocked by somebody else, and he comments on it out loud. I've never had the opportunity to learn something from someone else. Anything, ever. In Joe's mind, everything he knows, he created. And that's right. It served him well to be that way. Why would he listen to authority? But then he punches in a way that he didn't know was possible. And it makes a sound that's different. He steps into this position. He does all the forms, right? And suddenly, by embodying something, he pierces through the veil of the future into a possible space. My mind exists in a weird tapestry of different mythologies that I'm constantly sort of bouncing off of and ever relating to. When we step forward through realities into this scene, when Joe swings forward and suddenly his shadow boxed punch is hitting an opponent in a ring, and the lights are shining above like rays of sunlight through the clouds. Particularly here. This is the wall of a chapel. And we're not watching Joe find boxing, but we're watching Saul on the road to Damascus, and the heavens open, and he's struck blind by a vision of his future that calls him to become someone else. Ah! This is a vocation, like something sentient in the universe reaches through reality and grabs you and pulls you forward toward it. And then it fades away. It's just a glimpse, a dream. The kind of dream found when little kids pose like their favorite characters and see themselves in the midst of their conflicts and their shows. The kind of dream when you're performing something and envisioning yourself succeeding at it. The kind of dream that, like, indicates a potential reality that you might forever be grasping toward from then on. A kind of dream that's more powerful than your conscious mind, that takes advantage of your boredom and fills those empty moments. A kind of dream that you can rail against and rage against, but it captures you and takes hold of you and drives you to do silly things. I won't do it! I won't do as you wish, Kenkichi! And Kenkichi stands in the rain. And what the fuck? It's so cool looking. Are you doing it, Joe? Has it caught you? Have you taken the bait I left out? Whether you want to or not, you're built for this. Here's the way. And so, without wanting to, Joe trains and gets himself into trouble. And off to prison he goes. For a moment, there's real tension in him. But then he washes it over. It's filled in with bluster. He's going to meet a whole lot of guys just like him. He's going to have an opportunity to try that jab out. And maybe he's going to have an opportunity to get his ego taken down a notch or two. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll charge through this prison easy peasy, no problem. But I imagine it's probably a pretty harsh place. Heaven or hell? Heaven or hell, Joe? You're going to end up in one of them, and I think it's up to you which one it is. It'll be the same place either way. It's up to you how you look at it. This was a cool episode. Joe finding it, having that moment. Oh, man. It was a couple episodes I talked about wanting him to, like, touch gloves, to have a sensory experience that related him to the ring, that connected him to it. I did not expect him to have it in his mind, to have it in a moment of action and embodying, as opposed to like an external thing. It's internal. It's that he takes on this place, this role, this state where he's boxing, he's moving, he's fighting, and suddenly he finds himself fighting there. And he's still internally against it. He's like, no, not in the ring, never, no. But you can't fight fate, I suppose. And Joe is fated to be a boxer. At least if Danpei has anything to say about it. The funny thing about fate is that people sometimes make it out of nothing. Seems like Danpei is making it out of nothing for Joe. Here you are, Joe, you're nothing. I'm going to try to shape you. Okay, that's a wrap. Thanks for helping. You are helping. You're helping to watch. You're coming along with me. Thank you for joining me for this week's episode of Ashita no Joe. I really enjoyed it. Joe's off to a probably much worse place than this, and I'm really excited to see how it turns out. I hope to see you next week for more. You can catch it a little bit early on the Patreon, linked in the description, or I'll see you next week here on YouTube. Much love. Peace.